Welcome back, Focus Learners. Today, we're eagerly pulling back the curtain on a massive, complex architecture that hides right beneath a seemingly simple surface. We're going to explore the step-by-step blueprint for building a modern SaaS subscription billing and revenue recognition platform in 2026. Think of it kind of like an iceberg, right? What you see is literally just the tip, while this massive, churning engine operates completely out of sight.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's a quick look at our roadmap. We're going to shatter the SaaS billing illusion, lay down a double entry ledger foundation, navigate the twists and turns of the subscription lifecycle, automate ASC 606 compliance, and finally, tackle event driven global invoicing.
Section 1. The SaaS billing illusion. We need to kick things off by absolutely smashing the biggest misconception in the industry about how SaaS billing actually works. It is so easy to fall for the illusion of this simple checkout flow. The expectation is that billing is just an API gateway, like Stripe or Paddle, processing a quick credit card transaction. But that gateway just collects the money. The reality? Your SaaS billing architecture is literally the central nervous system of your product. It's this intricate web of state logic deciding exactly who gets access, what specific features they're allowed to use, and why. Confusing a basic payment gateway with a full billing architecture is a massive fundamental error. This quote perfectly captures the stakes here. Billing connects product, pricing, access control, finance, customer success, sales, support, compliance, and engineering. It is essentially the central nervous system of a SaaS business. Because it's that central nervous system, a small bug doesn't just mean a failed credit card charge. It could actually mean a canceled customer is still actively logging into your premium product for free. Or worse, maybe a huge enterprise client is quietly bypassing their usage limits without ever generating an invoice. Yikes. Section 2. Double Entry Ledger Foundation. So how do we actually build this robust nervous system? Well, we have to start at the absolute bedrock, the database layer. A modern billing system absolutely demands strong data consistency. And that means building an immutable ledger inside a strongly consistent relational SQL database. Naive designs, they often just update a single user's balance column. Please don't do this. That is incredibly dangerous because it completely obscures the history of why a balance changed. Instead, you need double entry accounting. Every financial event generates at least two immutable entries, a debit and a credit. This ensures money doesn't just magically appear or disappear because of some random software bug, giving you a totally perfect audit trail. And this brilliantly illustrates how engineers can translate traditional accounting right into a database mental model. Instead of dealing with confusing two-column accounting rules about when to increase or decrease balances, you just treat debits and credits as vectors. They have magnitude and direction. In the database, you simply use signed amounts, so assigning negative values to debits and positive values to credits. This highly streamlined approach allows you to easily calculate balances by literally just summing up the column. It's a real game changer. Section 3. The subscription lifecycle. All right, now that we have this rock-solid, zero-sum foundation, let's move up to the next layer of the iceberg and examine the messy, highly dynamic reality of selling SaaS through recurring subscriptions. In 2026, a subscription is rarely just a flat monthly fee anymore. We are fully in the era of hybrid billing. This seamlessly blends fixed subscription seats with variable usage-based charges, what we call billable metrics. So you might charge a base fee for a certain number of seats, but then you meter things like API calls, gigabytes stored, or AI tokens processed. The catch, you need an infrastructure capable of handling high-volume event streams without losing a single drop of data. If you undercount, you're bleeding revenue. But if you overcount, you absolutely destroy your customers' trust with a massive shock invoice. To manage all these different plans, you absolutely must use entitlements. An entitlement is basically a strict operational rule that totally decouples your marketing team's commercial pricing plans from your back-end product permissions. Stop hard-coding plan names like Enterprise Plan into your codebase. I mean, if sales decides to change a pricing tier tomorrow, your engineers are going to have to rewrite and deploy brand new application code just to keep up. Instead, your code should strictly check specific feature entitlements, like asking, does can export reports equal true? Let's actually stress test this for a second. Imagine an enterprise customer with 100 active employees decides to downgrade to a 50-seat plan right in the middle of the month. What happens to those 50 extra active users? Are they just brutally kicked out mid-keystroke? Of course not. Downgrades are never just simple plan changes. They are highly complex entitlement reduction workflows.
Your billing engine has to handle the proration, adjusting the charges for that partial billing period proportionally, and then trigger a workflow to safely suspend users at the end of the billing cycle just to avoid abrupt disruption. Let's move to the next piece and see how this builds, because this complex logic also applies to handling failures, the automated dunning workflow. A massive architectural mistake is confusing a payment status with a subscription status. Think about it. Payment status is a past tense fact. Did the card charge succeed? Yes or no? But subscription status, that is nuanced state logic. If a payment fails, you don't instantly lock out a highly valuable corporate client. You enter a grace period, then suspend, and finally cancel. Your product must rely on that nuanced subscription state to know exactly what access to grant, not just the raw payment state.
Section 4. Automating ASC 606 compliance. Okay, let's shift our focus entirely from operational logic over to the nightmare that is financial reporting. Under the ASC 606 and IFRS 15 accounting standards, you can't just recognize all your revenue upfront anymore. You absolutely have to follow this strict 5-step framework. For SaaS, this means carefully unbundling a contract into specific performance obligations. Let's say you sell an annual contract for $135,000. You have to split that up based on the standalone selling price. The software license might be deferred and recognized ratably over 12 months, the implementation fee recognized when the service is actually delivered, and the support recognized straight line over the whole year. Doing this manually in spreadsheets takes weeks, and honestly, it breaks down completely as you start to scale. Now, what's really interesting about this setup is how modern platforms solve this, using native ERP integration, like NetSuite's advanced revenue management living right alongside its suite billing module. By doing this, you avoid separate data syncs entirely. The system knows exactly which portion of each invoice is deferred as of any specific date. This delivers totally audit-ready revenue schedules and real-time ARR analytics without needing some painful 47-tab spreadsheet. Everything reconciles beautifully because everything shares the exact same unified data model. Section 5. Event-driven global invoicing. Finally, let's zoom out to the network layer. How does this entire system actually communicate internally, and how does it deal with the wildly complex world of global tax authorities? Modern billing systems are built on event-driven architecture, or EDA. When a subscription starts, an event is published to a message bus, like AWS SNS, allowing decoupled services to consume it independently. But this introduces some massive challenges. Network conditions can cause duplicate messages, so engineers must ensure message item potency, basically meaning an event can be processed multiple times without changing the result beyond the initial application, often by just discarding process events based on unique IDs. Furthermore, because a new subscription charge cancels out an old one, these events absolutely have to be processed in strict chronological order. And if a message fails completely, it needs to safely land in a dead letter queue or DLQ so engineers can inspect it and redrive it later. And when that event finally generates an invoice, we hit the global compliance challenge. Managing electronic invoices across multiple countries usually turns into this tangled web of technical discrepancies. A fragmented approach means building custom integrations for literally every single country's tax portal. But 2026 demands a unified invoicing API approach. By using a single canonical JSON schema, platforms can capture transaction data just once. The API layer then translates that into country-specific XML formats, handles local validations, routes it to the tax authorities, and even applies digital e-signatures, abstracting away incredible complexity for multi-country compliance. So the crucial point is, ask yourself this. If your external billing API went down tomorrow, would your core product still know who is entitled to log in? Billing is not just an administrative afterthought or some dusty back-office plumbing. It is the central nervous system of your product, demanding strong data consistency, highly intelligent workflows, and precise architectural respect. I really hope this deep dive has given you a powerful new lens on SaaS billing. Keep architecting smartly, focused learners, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.